We are back with another Wuthering Waves video. We are Wuthering playing Wuthering Waves, and right now, I believe in about 2 days, 3 days, Shiakona is going to be coming on banner, but with Shiakona is going to be coming 5 new completely reruns. Well, I say new reruns, let me rephrase that. 5 reruns for older units, and so I wanted to go over the banner as a whole. Who should you be looking to pull for if you're free to play, if you're a whale, what the case may be. So I just want to break this all down for you right now. So right now, we're looking at what the reruns are going to be. It's going to be Jinhsi, Changli, Carlotta, Roccia, now Brant. One thing I want to keep in mind and let you know, the version 2.4 live stream is happening before this banner ends. My humbly honest professional opinion, because I'm the greatest Wuthering Waves player of all time, as I negate 37% power creep with Zany and Peeb, is hold on to your pull. Wait the extra week or two, see what the new live stream is going to show with Cartethi and Lupa, and then go from there. Because you don't want to pull a unit if you maybe think they might synergize with Lupa, or maybe Cartethia, or maybe you're just like, you know what, those guys look they look a lot more cool than what I have. So that's my first piece of advice, but let's say right now, you gotta pick one. Well, I'm gonna break each character down and give you my honest thoughts. First is going to be the beautiful Jinhsi. By the way, she has the most beautiful skin of all time. I'm going to change my scene over here real quick. She is amazing. This is a 1.1 unit who is a Spectral Broadblade user, and they still pump out massive, massive numbers. And they're honestly one of the more free-to-play units in the game, to be very transparent with you. So the way Jinhsi primarily works is that her forte circuit, it's a little bar that you need to fill up. She needs incandescence to do damage, which you get from coordinated attacks, right? So we'll go over her teammates and synergies in a moment, but if you look at her multiplier for her incandescence, if I could find it, because there's a lot of things that start with an I here. Oh, incarnation, that's not it. I found it, took me a second. Incandescence, additional multiplier per incandescence is 44.54%. So for every 1 incandescence she's getting a 44.54%. And I believe her incandescence holds up to 50. So that's a lot. And again, as I said, she is very free-to-play friendly. So if you're thinking, well, do I want to go with this character? They're a really solid choice. Just keep in mind that if you're looking for free-to-play weapon options, there is not a free-to-play crit rate or crit damage weapon. Obviously, her Broadblade is going to be her best in slot, but after that, the next best thing is going to be Illustrious Razor, which is giving you double attack. So just to let you know, full transparency, she'll still work wonders with that. But if you do have any other Broadblade with crit rate, crit damage, that could work. And obviously, I mean, her signature is going to be her best in slot, right? So there's that. Her constellations are pretty okay. Me personally, the way I look at this game is I don't really go for constellations for units. I'd rather just get new units. But her constellations are fine, you know? Like, I mean, her C1 gives her max incandescence off rip. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Her C2 gives max incandescence off rip, but I don't even think that's worth getting if you just want me to be very transparent with you. And then her teammate synergies, her free-to-play option is going to be Yuan Wu. So Yuan Wu over here, he's going to provide no damage. He's literally just an incandescent bot. If you've played Genshin Impact, he's like got that Benny circle. You throw it down and that's it. So Yan Wu, Verena are obviously goated. And then the paid options would be something like a Gigi, something like a Cantarella, a Yinlin, whatever the case may be if you have. Now, the best in slots are always going to be Gigi and Cantarella due to the fact that they go with resonant skill energy with their outro skill. So if I go to Gigi real quick, her outro is going to give resonant skill damage, which is what Jinhsi uses in order to do her big boom. So keep that in mind. You could do a budget team, let's say, with Verena for your coordinated strikes, and then something like Tauchi, because Tauchi is going to give a 38% resonant skill amplification, which is a lot. But I just hate playing this team. It's not for me. But yeah, overall, Jinhsi's great, man. You know, Jinhsi is honestly a very solid unit, but she doesn't have that free crit rate option, unlike Carlotta, which is the next unit, who I'm going to be honest with you, Carlotta's just broken, man. I don't know why they put Carlotta into the game, but here we are. I can't even find her. There we go. Bam. Carlotta is an absolute monster. Came out in 2.0. Their kit is very simple. They're another resonant skill unit, so their forte and everything is considered resonant skill damage. And pretty much, Carlotta is a Glacial gun user who's able to freeze their enemies and just pump out massive damage numbers. And overall, I think is the most free-to-play friendly DPS in the game for quite a few reasons. One being you are able to obtain the Static Mist completely for free, which is giving you crit rate, energy regen, as well as increased attack, right? And so off rip, obviously, again, her signature is going to give you 72% crit damage. This is going to alleviate a lot of the problems with echoes. But if you can't afford it, you don't want to swipe, Static Mist is just enough. Static Mist works perfectly, as well as her team synergy, since she is very similar to Jinhsi in the fact that she gets the resonance skill. We can go with a couple different characters, and she's not restricted with the incandescence with coordinated strikes. So my personal favorite team, free-to-play wise, is her with Yang Yang and either Shorekeeper or Verena if you have Shorekeeper. The reason why I go Yang Yang here is because a majority of Carlotta's damage comes from her burst. So she fills up her forte, and then in her burst, she gets 5 big booms with her shotgun. And you want to try to get your burst up as fast as possible. So when I go over here to Yang Yang and I look at her outro skill, you are getting 4 resonance energy for every 5 seconds. And that's great. That's great. You know, the particles here, if you're a Genshin player, this is literally just funneling particles to you. But you have some other options. Again, not my favorite options, but you can make them work. Again, same thing with Tauchi, Big Boba Lady. Her outro skill is giving you that 38% resonance skill damage increase. And you could use Lumi. Again, I don't like this character, but they're giving you a 38% res skill damage amplification as well. So those are the free-to-play options. Well, mainly Yang Yang's the most free-to-play because you get this character for free. Tauchi and Lumi are pulled units, but her premium team is going to include Shorekeeper and Carlotta. Excuse me, Shorekeeper and Gigi, because Gigi's outro, while it gives resonant skill damage, is also giving that Glacio bonus. So she gets the full benefits from Gigi. And I would be remiss to mention, this is something that can work if you have Shorekeeper. If you have Shorekeeper, you could technically also run Sanma, especially if they're S6, because although you're only getting a basic attack amplifier here, if your Sanwa is S6, you will be getting this attack boost, which is most S6 four stars give, right? But she is able to get that nuclear gold stellar ram up as fast as possible with your Shorekeeper. So this is kind of like another budget option as well. Overall, I think Carlotta, I'm just going to give you the TLDR. I think Carlotta is the best bang for your buck. I'm just going to be honest with you. Straight up. Next is Changli. Here's the thing with Changli. Changli does have some free-to-play options for her weapon as well, because you do get one of the best weapons in the game, the Emerald of Genesis. Again, this is another for free crit rate. Same thing as Static Mist, ER, attack. Low-key, Changli's weapon's probably more high value than Changli because Blazing Brilliance can be run on almost any sword user. Just keep that in mind. So, but I'm going over mainly characters in this video. Changli is interesting. Changli is one of the best quick swap units, but the problem with that is you have to play as if you are about to get carpal tunnel syndrome because of the fact the inputs are just insane. As a on-field hyper carry DPS, Changli is not necessarily bad, but she's not the best option. People like Carlotta and Jinhsi clear effortlessly, way easier than her. So, with the couple playstyles, you have the quick swap, and her quick swap mainly works with characters like a Jinhsi, like a Zhang Liao. If I could find my man over here, he's somewhere. Zhang Liao is, unfortunately, he's somewhere. It could work with Zhang Liao. It could work with Carlotta as well. People were also making it work with Zany. She's overall, if you want to master her playstyle and have carpal tunnel at the age of 28, then I think she's pretty much worth it. Now, in terms of hyper carry, where she's going to be the main DPS unit, this is going into another ReRun unit, Brant. Her and Brant synergize perfectly in the sense that her outro skill, well, I say perfectly. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. Let me explain. With Brant's outro skill is going to give resonant skill damage and buff Changli. It's giving fusion and resonant skill. A lot of these characters go with resonant skill damage, as you can see. So Brant is a great buffer for Changli, but Changli's outro skill doesn't necessarily synergize with anyone yet. Now, my honest opinion and my honest thoughts is that Lupa is probably going to be some sort of Resonance Liberation scaling unit, simply for the fact that we're looking at Changli's outro and its fusion damage and Resonance Liberation damage. So if you really like Lupa, and it just so happens that Changli might be the best in slot for Lupa, then that's a possibility. But if you're looking for a main DPS, a main fusion DPS, I don't think Changli would be that for you. I really don't. She could be a little complicated to play with her stacks and everything. So, me personally, if you're going to go with her, Brand, and maybe Lupa and do a triple fusion team, sure. But if you're not really into it, I wouldn't do it. Brant, now actually moving on to Brant legitimately. The thing with Brant is an amazing unit, but he is super, super resource intensive. And what do I mean by that? There's two ways you can play Brant. You can either play Brant with his best in-slot Echo set, which is right here, the Tide-Breaking Courage. But if you run Tide-Breaking Courage, your Brant needs to have 250 ER to get the full maximum effects of this set. Getting 250 ER without Brant's signature or without the overture is pretty rough. Now, thankfully, you do get a free-to-play weapon if you just complete Renacida, a free-to-play 5-star, Blood Pack's Pledge. This is not really going to help Brand's personal damage or anything, and the ER is actually a little low. It's 38 compared to Overture's 51, but it's very rough to get 250 ER with Brand if you don't have Overture, you're not going for this, right? And so when you're trying to balance all the ER stats on top of a good crit split, it gets very resource intensive, right? Especially if you don't have Shorekeeper to give you a crit rate buff and crit damage buff. The other way you could run Brant, which is way less resource intensive and kind of just like a normal team comp, is if you were to run him on pretty much Changli's Echoes, Inferno Rider, right? So if we go over to that set, this set is pretty much going to buff, here, where is it, right? Bam. Your Molten Rift damage, and yeah, fusion damage, and upon using Resonance skill, fusion damage increased. And obviously, Brant's going to use his Resonance skill. He is a basic attacker, though, so that's what he scales with. So he's a very interesting character. He's fun. Really, really fun to play. Honestly, probably one of the most fun units to play in the game. But again, he's going to take up all of your resources. So I would be a little weary about rolling him. Now, in terms of team compositions, obviously, I've already discussed Brant synergistically matches perfect with buffing Changli. But let's say, for example, you wanted to make Brant a main DPS. At that point, since he is a basic attack buffer, you could run an S6 Sanhua with him to get that basic attack damage. She is going to give, I believe it's a 38% amplification from her outro, and obviously if that's S6, plus 20% attack. So that would be it. And again, Brant DPS is not bad. It's pretty solid. He's able to pump out a lot of damage pretty quickly. But me personally, I wouldn't recommend it. I think if you're just starting off in the game, you're not going to have the resources unless you have the greatest luck of all time to really utilize him to the max capabilities. But we'll see what happens with Lupa. Maybe I'm wrong, right? And the last character that's getting a rerun, I believe, is Roccia. Let's double check that Reddit post. I read it already. You fuck up with that. Roccia, yeah. Okay, Roccia is a very interesting character. There's quite a few things about Roccia that you need to know. One thing is, in Roccia's talents, she needs to have 80% crit rate in order to gain the full effects of her Resonance Liberation. So off rip, Roccia is a gauntlet user. There is no free crit rate option. The only free option is Abyss Surges, right? If you were to buy the Battle Pass Stenard, you get 20% crit rate, and that kind of helps things out. Oh, excuse me, but other than that, there really is no other option. And you could still get 80% crit rate. I think it's 70 or 80. I'm pretty sure it's 80. But you could still get 80% crit rate with Abyss Surges, but it's just going to be a lot more echo intensive, right? So that's just the first thing I want to let you know. Now, Roccia really, really, really specializes in PvE AoE situations. So, for example, if I go here, Roccia, not that she's bad in Tower of Adversity with her main team compositions, but Wuthering Waves feels like was low-key meant for this unit, right? Roccia has insane grouping, the best grouping in the game, and she could actually pump out pretty decent damage. So just keep in mind, if you're going to get Roccia, you need to hit that crit rate threshold if you want to get the max out of her kit. Now, who does Roccia synergize with? So she's a sub DPS. So she is buffing Camilla. to the maximum. And this is another amazing AoE unit. Oh my god, I love you, Camilla. So Rossia's outro skill is going to provide a havoc damage as well as a normal attack buff. So you would run Camilla and then either Verena / Shorekeeper and Roccia. Maybe if you wanted to throw Cantarilla to replace Verena and Shorekeeper, although it's not really that great. And Roccia can also buff Havoc Rover. So if you are a Havoc Rover main and you're like, okay, you know what, I kind of want a character to bring my Havoc Rover up a little bit and give him more value, Roccia is not bad for that because of the fact that, I mean, realistically, you are getting that normal attack buff, which the Havoc Rover does utilize, and, you know, you are also getting the oh my god, I'm forgetting the element. Getting the Havoc buff, the normal attack. But with that being said, with Havoc Rover, you do also have another option of Don Jin, where realistically you would get a 38% damage amplification from her outro. Oh, only 23%. Wow, very interesting. I thought it was more than that. Yeah, no, so then Roccia clears on that. I thought it was 38 for some reason. Most 4-stars are. But I don't know if I would necessarily pull Roccia, especially just for Wuthering Waves personally. If you don't have Camilla and you don't really plan on making Havoc Rover a main, I don't think this character is really worth it, especially because it's going to still require a pretty decent amount of investment to reach that 80% crit rate value. So in total, my honest opinion, I would rank 1 would be going for Carlotta. Carlotta has Yang Yang, Static Mist. You technically have Sanwa if you have Shorekeeper and you're big chillin'. Then I would go Jinhsi. I would go Carlotta, Jinhsi, and after that, with my suspicions of what Lupa might do, maybe Changli, but I wouldn't even say Changli. I'd just go for Changli's weapon, Blazing Brilliance, because that weapon is crazy. So, but that's pretty much it, man. Those are my thoughts on who you should be pulling, especially for newer players. And with that being said, the word of the day is Aboba. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.